Greetings, dear students, of our series of lectures about the minor topics in our course. Today we are going to discuss the irregular plurals. We all know that we have different forms of adding the plurality to the singular form of the nouns. Of course, now we are dealing only with nouns. The most classical way for changing a singular noun into the plural form is to add the s plural. For example, when we say book but books, or book and books, and we can say, for example, car cars. This is very classical by adding just the s plural form to the end of the word. But this is not the only technique for changing a singular noun into plural. We have also other types of plurality. For example, today we have the irregular plurals. The irregular plurals are not submitting to a specific rule or grammatical rule. Here we have the words as they are in the dictionary, so we have to memorize them. Here we have a list of the most common words that you can find in our course about the irregular plurals, but that doesn't make them the only words, no, but they are the most common or the most used ones in daily life. For example, we start with person. We don't say persons, but we say people if we want to make it as a plural. Also, for foot, we make it as feet. Tooth, teeth. We don't say childs, but we say children. Mouse, we change it into plural as mice. Also, we have the words sheep and fish. Usually, when we have words about animals, in the irregular form, they keep the same form. Yeah, for example, here we say sheep for sheep. We don't say sheeps. For fish, you can say fish also for the plural form. The only way, if you want to add s for fish, is when you are going to refer to fish not as a plural form, but as a plural of the species of fish. And for example, we have different species of fish. We have salmon, we have tuna, whatever, we have carp, whatever. So here you are not referring to fish as a group, you are referring to this different types or different kinds or different species of fish. Okay, so you are pluralizing the types here or the kinds. Leaf. For the word leaf, we change it into leaves. The same is for the word wolf. Wolf here is pluralized as wolves by changing the F into VES. Also, we have goose, geese, and we have women, women by changing the A into E. So here only we are only changing the vowel. Aircraft, it remains the same as aircraft. We have apices, and we have bison, which is some sort of kind of an ox or something like that, but I think it's American. It is changed into bison, which means it keeps the same form, but it depends on the context of the sentence itself. Also, we have crisis. It is changed by changing, it is pluralized by changing the last two letters in the word. We have the word curriculum, also changed by changing the last two letters in the word by changing it into curricula. We have datum, which is changed into data, okay? And we have focus, and we have series also, which keeps the same form. So it depends also if you want to recognize whether it is plural or singular. It depends on the context of the sentence. You have to know from the context of the sentence itself whether it refers to a singular or a plural entity. We have viti, and we have tuna. Tuna, this is one type of fish, so it keeps the same form as tuna. We have a quizzes, by doubling the last letter and then adding es. We have index, also by changing the last three letters here. And we have ellipsis, also by changing the last two letters from is to es. We have codex into codes, and we have lavra into lavrae, and alumna into alumnae, and erratum into errata. Oxen, this is from the primary school, which is some kind of an animal. It is changed into oxen by adding en to the end of the word. We have oses. Also, it keeps the same form approximately, but you have just to change the last two words. We have swine, it keeps the same form. We have trout, also the same form. We have genus into genera, and we have focus, also it is, I think it's repeated. We have diagnosis, it is changed into diagnosis. It keeps the same pronunciation, but we have to change only the last two letters from IS to ES. We have analysis, also changing the last two letters into ES. And we have man, men. Here we only need to change the vowel in the middle of the word from A to E. Now, if you ask how we could answer a question about irregular plurals, I told you that we have different types of questions. The most common type of question is in do as required, which means that I will ask you to change the word, or sorry, the noun from singular to plural by adding or giving the most appropriate form depending on the grammatical rule for this noun. So if I give you an irregular noun, for example, I give you the word copy. So you have to change it into copies by adding s plural, but here you have to make the most important or the most accurate reformation of the word itself by changing the y into I and adding es, which means that it requires such a kind of a change because here the word is ending with y. Okay, sometimes some words are just changing into nouns, plural nouns, by adding s immediately, like car, cars. There is no need to make any changes or modifications of the word. But here I would ask you, for example, I give you person, people. Then I give you the word child, and I ask you to change it into plural by making the most appropriate form. So in this case, you need to memorize the plural form of this word in order to answer this question. Because as I told you at the beginning of this lecture, we don't have a very fixed grammatical rule for changing these words from singular into plural. So we need to memorize them as they are from the dictionary, in their dictionary entry, or sorry, the lexical entry. So also, for example, I can give you for the word series and or the word fish, and I give you the plural fish. Then I ask you to give the plural form of series. Give the plural form depending on whether it is regular or irregular. So in this case, you would answer these questions. Also, it may come as in fill in the blanks, which means I will give you a group of words, and then I give you a group of sentences, and I will ask you to give the answer depending or matching these words with their appropriate sentences, depending on the sequence of these sentences and depending on the meaning, whether they match the meaning or not. So this is about the irregular verbs, and I hope that you find them beneficial. And remember that these words should be memorized as they are, because you cannot have a really fixed rule for them. But you can group them, yani as an advice, I can give you advice, is that you have to group them into words that resemble themselves within the same rule. And for example, you can put foot, feet, man, men, woman, women, and tooth, teeth in the same group because they are changing in what? They can be changed from singular into plural by changing the vowel words, whether in the middle or at the end, but they are in the middle here. So this will make it easier for you to memorize them. Also, you can group, make another group about the words that keep the same form. For example, you have to put sheep, fish, also the word, let us see, yes, the word swine, also with it. Also the word, not genus, the word trout, yes. Here you have some words that keep the same, bison as well. These words keep the same form in the singular and the plural. So in this case, this is the second group, so it will make it easier for you. And when you categorize them into groups, this makes your mind accept their memorizing more easily. Okay. The third part is that the words that can change from by changing only the last letter or two letters. For example, datum into data, focus into foci, and we have vita into vitae. So here it will make them يعني in one group. يعني you have the same change approximately. And also you can put the words that change only the last two letters from is into es. For example, the word osis and analysis, and we have the word diagnosis. Okay, so you will create the ways that will help you more to memorize these words. Yeah, try to make things easier for yourself by making or using these techniques. Thank you so much for your attention, and I hope that I will meet you inshallah in the next lecture.